Good evening. I'm Mitchell Gruich, your host of Red Radio tonight, and I've got Keith Wilson from Streetcar PR. What's going on, Keith, my man?
How's it going, man?
I'm so excited to talk to you. We got stories to talk about.
We sure do.
So you're covering the stories that don't get told
Somewhat, yes, sir.
independently.
Yeah, I do a Facebook page that is basically freelance news in the Biloxi, D'Iberville, and St. Martin area. And it's just straight with my name, Keith Wilson, your local news.
And you've been doing this, you said, for 6 years?
Yeah, well, actually, I started out in journalism going back as far as high school. Where I volunteered with a program at WLOX here on the Mississippi coast, and got kind of my roots started with that, and then majored in broadcast journalism at Southern Miss, and eventually worked my way up into getting into a newspaper job here for a local newspaper called the Biloxi D'Iberville Press. And they also owned the Ocean Springs Record, which is a separate newspaper that covers just Ocean Springs area. And so I got to do a little work with them as well. Did that for about 3 years, was cut unexpectedly, and then just started my own thing on Facebook, kept it going, kept doing my job, basically.
Been going strong ever since?
Yeah, and I enjoy every moment that I get to do something with somebody new every day.
And you recently covered a story about a Master Chief Sergeant?
Yeah, let me pull that up a little bit so I have some notes here. The good reporter I am. So this lady that I know personally now for about the last 2 years, her name is Diane Moore, and she is considered what people in the military may know of called a Gold Star family. Her father was a U.S. Air Force Chief Master Sergeant. His name was Thomas Moore, and he went unaccounted for in October, I believe it was Halloween Day, 1965, while serving in the Vietnam War. And so as a MIA POW, they are considered gold stars. And she represents her father now today. And so she actually helped bring a monument down to the Biloxi area. It's at the Biloxi, one of the parks near the Small Craft Harbor. And about 2 years ago, I remember getting the word to go and cover this. And I was like, all right, hey, that's cool. And to learn about it, though, changed me. I mean, really, it did, to learn about what even a gold star was. And so the other day, Diane told me, come by, let me meet you for lunch, and I've got something for you. And I said, oh my goodness, what? She said, I can't tell you right now. And so I met up with her, and after doing all the news stories that I have to help her get the word out about Gold Star families and stuff, she provided me, and I'll show it to you in just a little bit, but she provided me with a challenge coin she had made with her father's photo, the last photo that was taken of him, and and on one side of it, it has all of his different medals and things that he's earned over the years.
Really?
But she did it. Cool. She did it in a way that is normally done, I think she was telling me, through the military, and kind of can't really reveal that information. But when I received that, that's one of those things where it's like, wow, what I did to help this person by telling their story really has made a difference in their life.
You were covering her story for a while.
And for about 2 years. And I don't get to do it regularly, but it's something that whenever they have a new event or something related, it's basically continuing coverage. And so it was a complete honor to receive this challenge coin.
The local stories you cover, I imagine there's probably hundreds of them, but is there one that maybe comes to mind that was just like really exciting for you to like a murder story?
Yeah. I do have kind of one of those. It's not a murder story, but I've definitely covered bodies that have been found. There was one in D'Iberville about 4 or 5 years ago. That all of the media was there, and because it's just something you don't hear about every day here in coastal Mississippi. We got the word about it, and you go out and you start finding out the details and trying to cover it. And I can remember standing next to reporters from the Sun Herald and WLOX and XXV, and we're just all out there waiting for the next piece of information to relay that info, because that's a part of the media's job, is to put out the correct, accurate information. Because with social media today, you are going to have rumors start almost instantly. One person has a little bit more information than the next, and then this one has this piece of the story. Our job is still to put it all together in a factual form to make sure that people know what really is going on in their community.
Speaking of factual forms, what is your opinion on Facebook's fact check that they put in place when stories get popular, and then like you said,
Sure.
rumors start developing, and people are like, well, thinking this is true, and it's not true,
Yeah.
or something happened and it didn't really happen. What's your opinion on the
Well,
AI algorithm fact checking?
Well, I will say this. I would love for Facebook, if you are watching, to give me that blue check mark, because I've been doing this for so long. And
Come on, Zuck! Come on! Give him a blue check mark.
And so it just would be nice, to get that. That's almost like an official. It's almost like a Medal of Honor too. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but these days, that's what you're dealing with as somebody in the media. But it's not like I'm desperate for it. It'd be a I guess, validation. But I haven't really had that problem on the news that I do. Again, my stuff is only local. I don't go into the national news business. I don't do really state either. If it's state related, it's whatever affects the area that I cover. So like with Hurricane Ida just recently, MEMA puts out its information, which, if you don't know, Mississippi Emergency Management Agency is what that stands for. Whenever they put out their press releases, try to retell that part of the story and put it out in my own form.
I feel like we're getting to the point now where technology is the double checker for us. Like, sure. I know with like Adobe, since I'm in graphic design, they've recently implemented technology that if you Photoshop a photo and put it on the internet, the technology will detect it, and it can tell you or inform you that this photo has been altered from its original form by analyzing the pixels.
And that's incredible. I mean, that's the kind of thing where, again, like, I do put a copyright date, everything on my news. So, I mean, it is my work. I have come across the issue where people have used my work already, and that's one of those things where it's like,
what do you do when that happens?
Well, you have to just go to these people and say, look,
do you send them like a cease and desist?
No, I mean, pretty much. And it's worked out so far where they're like, we're sorry, we'll contact you if we need to. But I've definitely incurred that, and it's not cool. I mean, because if I was there working with them and I did that, I'd lose my job immediately. I mean, that's the difference between the media types, I guess. I don't know.
So it sounds like you cover both, like, and as far as like local news goes, like you touch on local history.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, actually, and that's the thing is, being a multimedia journalist, you come across people of all facets of life. So you gain these sources, you gain these people that you trust, basically. A couple of people that work at the Biloxi Library in downtown, they have a wonderful genealogy, history and genealogy department.
Shout out to Shambra and
Yes,
Estelle.
I knew you would know that. But working with them to get information from the past, whenever there's maybe a story about downtown Biloxi or something, where I can use what happened and how we're moving forward. That's pretty cool to be able to, tell that part of the story.
Estelle is really good at digging out some dirt on Biloxi history. I imagine since you're independent, you have like maybe like 2 or 3 people that hire you at one time. So you're kind of like, covering 2 or 3 stories at one time, like having to be here, and here, trying to keep up with all the different developments.
There you go. Well, and I don't get really hired per se that often. It only comes when maybe somebody wants a sponsorship coverage for a nonprofit or something. But being hired to do news is different. People need to understand that the traditional media, TV, radio, newspaper, print, they are backed by advertising dollars. Facebook, I don't really have that option. I can finagle my way around to come up with a way to let you advertise. But again, if you're wanting something to be covered where it's to promote, you're going to have to try to help me out some, because I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm doing this for the benefit of the community. And so that's kind of that difference between the two types of media we're talking about right here. But to have 3 different stories happening in like a day, oh yeah, that's happened. And
it's a good day for you.
It is. Well, it's a busy day, especially being a one-man band. I mean, because I don't have a photographer behind my back. I don't have a producer on the side. It's me. I'm doing all of this, and it's definitely hard work, but it's something that I obviously enjoy, because I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't.
True.
Yeah.
Keith, where can everybody find you on Facebook to follow your news stories?
Definitely on Facebook.com/MMJ Keith Wilson. And a lot of people put KIE. It's KEI. So
KEI, everybody.
KEIT.
KEI. Streetcar PR, everybody. Keith, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
you.
you.
After this, tell me about all the murder stories you
Yes.
covered. Everybody follow Keith on Facebook.
All right.
Good evening again. I'm Mitchell Gruich. I'm your host of the Res Radio, and I have formerly the Electric MYRRS, now just the MYRRS. What's going on, guys?
Not much, man.
So, okay, so I met you as Electric MYRRS. I know it's just the MYRRS now, but the Electric MYRRS, where did that come from, and what is a MYRRS?
Well, we're kind of still deciding that. But the Electric MYRRS started in 2017 as a recording project, something kind of just as a creative outlet. I don't know, something to kind of push past, like, I don't really know. Like,
Has it always been this incarnation, or have you had under different names?
It started as Death Cap. That was the original band we were in, and it was 4 of us. And we just kind of decided to step away from that and just go on with the MYRRS as the recording project. And then, like 3 months into it was just myself when it started, but I gathered these guys together, these awesome guys, to basically start forming it as a band and playing live and doing shows and stuff.
Awesome. And so, with this incarnation, you got the one album, the CD.
The Adventures of Camus?
And then when I went to, I think it was your band camp, there's like a whole bunch.
Yeah. So with that, we just kind of like spontaneously record and release. Like, we are a through and through recording band. Like, if we could never play another live show again, it wouldn't hurt us any, because we love to record. It's all about the creativity and just pushing the boundaries of recording techniques and songwriting.
When you're recording, who's the main engineer?
It's kind of all of us.
Really? You all share
engineering
duties?
Yeah.
So do you like sit and have a conversation about the distance for the drum mic and where it should be placed and which one it is? And
it's all kind of.
I mean, sometimes I'll bother with that stuff, but they get good sounds, so usually I just let them do their thing and kind of sit back and try to stay out of the way.
That's right. You were saying earlier before you played, you tuned the drums that you're very, very particular about.
Tech nerd, like, through and through.
So was it you wanted the drums to have the concert drum basis?
Yeah, like I like when you add that second head on there, it brings your pitch up, but I like that real low deep thing, and I like them to sort of punch and get out of the way. It's just sort of, like the 70s vibe, late 60s kind of thing. But
which you guys do a great job at playing too. I was like, for like one second I'll be like, oh, it's the Doors, but heavy.
Like Chico Hamilton, he did that thing too, but in a jazz context. And I don't know, I just like mixing it up. You don't see it enough anymore.
I mean, that's great. I mean, I think every musician would love to be in a band with someone who is really, really excited about recording, because you can be in bands with dudes all day long, but there's typically either no one or just one person that wants the hassle of having to mix and then did I do it right? Did I capture the right? How long does it take to get the right tone, the right signal?
Yeah.
But you guys don't have a problem with y'all just make records all day long.
Oh yeah, it's literally just like spitting them out.
I love that recording technique from last Tuesday on the trombone.
The kazoo.
So, are you working on something right now? Another release?
Yeah, we're actually getting together a demo EP of some of our older songs that we haven't released yet. It's like the three of us, but I'm on drums, he's on bass, and he's on keyboards. And
That's right. You're all
that's gonna be-
multi-instrumentalists.
Yeah.
And Alan, you play trumpet it's trombone.
Yeah, I
and-
used to, yeah, trumpet, trombone, all that stuff. Jaw problems, put an end to that, but I still love that kind of music and horns in general, and eventually, hopefully, getting like a sax player in our band. So that's the future, though.
Are you going to steal one from the other bands that have so many sax players?
Keep our eye out.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah.
So I got to actually see you play live in Hattiesburg. Before that, I was kind of like aware of from your band camp, but in Hattiesburg, I was like, oh man, this is going to be. There's not a lot of bands like down here on the coast that have a derivative, from rock that's other than maybe metal or heavy alternative stuff. And so hearing you guys, I'm like, this is refreshing and it's heavy. So I'm like, yes, tea with sugar. But seeing you in Hattiesburg play, that was kind of like a big show. There's like 10, 12 bands, something like that. Do you guys have any more big shows coming up that you're going to be playing at?
Not as of recent, just with COVID and everything going around. We haven't really had any luck hearing about too many more opportunities, but we are about to boost the creative side tenfold. We are about to make so much music, just being bored.
Do you work primarily like out of one room, or do you all have your own DAW station set up so that you can interchangeably work on the sessions at the same time?
He's the only one that doesn't have a DAW system set up yet, but we're about to get him started.
I would totally let that slide because he can tune drums.
Yeah. he's got one, but
No, man, you don't need a new computer. Just make those drums sound good when we record them. So you are set up separately?
I record some of the. It's so crazy because some of the material is recorded like in the bay at my house, and then sometimes it's recorded, parts of it like drums, the drums and.
Kind of like
and
the
doing-
postal service for
Yeah.
sending songs to each other and adding things.
And I imagine you probably use the same all DAWs so that you just
Yeah.
open up the
Yeah.
session file. So it's
Yeah.
I guess collecting off of a server.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
emailing files and things like that.
So since you kind of not so, like retro that you're trying to recreate, but you have that retro vibe to you.
Yeah.
When it comes to recording, are you like trying to use older microphones, or is it just a matter of like capturing the right sound reference?
Yeah, so from the very beginning, the electric MYRRS started on a tape deck, a 4-track cassette tape deck. And that has been through and through the only tool that I don't think we will ever get rid of, because it gives us that almost that nostalgic filter, kind of like a blanket over the music that really just brings it to a different time, like new music with a different, like with an older feel. But most of our, if not almost all of our recordings were done on a cassette deck called Canvas.
I had a little 4-track Fostex.
Yeah, and they're so great. Right?
Yeah, you go back and you can definitely hear a difference in the quality of sound between like analog tape and
And
digital.
it's basically like recording it all onto tape and then getting it to the DAW system to clean it up and release it and stuff.
Nice, so you already have it.
Yeah.
You don't have to process it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like in mastering programs, that's always like a feature for it to be like the way that the exciter frequencies react to the warmth. Like you can set it to be like tube or tape or. But yeah, anyway, I mean, I can talk. We can talk old gear. I mean, you obviously love sun cabs and basement amps. So I mean, that's a signal right there. You're gonna hear something heavy, which is when you guys played and filled the whole room up at the tavern. It was like it pushes, it carries. And one of my favorite things is you run the vocals through your own cab, your own amplifier behind you. It's like not going through house. You're doing the tremolo and the reverb and everything.
Yeah.
With the cab.
Yeah, that's really all from just like not being able to trust the sound guys in places that we play. Just trying to have like full control over all of the effects for the vocals and stuff.
Right.
Just hear yourself try. I don't know.
So you guys are the MYRRS going to be playing anywhere anytime soon?
Not in the foreseeable future, but hopefully 2022 is a little bit better. I don't know, the whole COVID and all.
Well, I'm so glad I was able to see you play live, and that you are finally on here on Red Radio.
And we're very happy to be here.
Good to be here. I appreciate it.
Everybody check out the MYRRS. Good evening again. I am your host, Mitchell Gruich, and I'm here with Adrienne Cocco, band director of...
Long Beach. How are y'all doing today? Long Beach Middle School, to be exact.
What's going on at Long Beach Middle School?
Well, right now we're preparing for our festival evaluation happening in February, and we're also preparing for our upcoming Christmas concerts and our football games, which you can see us on Thursday night.
Virtually or
In
at
person.
the stadium?
At the stadium, actually. And that's been a big question right now is COVID-19. What are y'all doing in school right now to allow people to come and participate? And fortunately, we're able to open up our stadium and allow parents and supervisors and anybody else who wants to come on and celebrate with us. So
I
that's
was
exciting.
I was at a football game the other night for Ocean Springs. My niece is in the band, the middle school band, and I was surprised to see the stadium, not the stadium, but the seating was pretty well seated for home game.
Yeah, it's going to be a big event, and we just ask that people come naturally with a mask so that we can follow COVID protocols and regulations and things like that. But anybody's more than welcome to come.
So, Adrienne, you play trumpet.
Yes, I play trumpet.
What is that the only instrument? Or do you? Are there other instruments?
That is not
you
the
are-
only instrument I play. I can play pretty much everything. I am not great at guitar, and I definitely cannot play bass guitar. But I can play every other instrument that
horn instruments.
Yes.
Primarily.
primarily, yes, primarily horn
Trumpets
instruments.
and saxophone.
Trumpet, saxophone,
Tuba.
bassoon, tuba, trombone,
You like the
baritone.
bassoon?
I do like the bassoon.
It's kind of odd.
It's an odd
It's-
instrument
yeah,
to
it's
really
an
like
odd
to do.
bird.
Yeah, but we like to call ourselves special if we like that. So it's really unique. It makes people unique.
It's like a big weird saxophone almost.
It is, or like a big giant long kazoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like to think.
But
of it as.
is trumpet your primary? That's the one that you like playing the most?
Yes, that's my primary instrument. So I do it most, if not all the time.
And you were saying you gig out, so you gig out with different bands, and when you do that, you're pretty much playing trumpet?
I do. So I gig out with a couple of different bands. Sometimes I'll play with the Gulf Coast Big Band, and I was gigging with a band out of Laurel called Down and Good. Just recently, I was playing with the Chad Knight Band on July 4th for their celebration they were having, and I played with DJ Rock and the Interns at Dan B's in Bay St. Louis, and right now I just gig wherever they need me to. I am part of an organization called Bugles Across America, and we play taps for fallen soldiers, part of volunteer and things like that.
Nice. So you're pretty much a freelancer when it comes to the horns?
Yeah, I just freelance and I play as much as I can. It just makes me happy. Playing music in general just gives me joy and excitement, and I like that I can show my students, because I am a teacher, that not only do I have to just teach music, but I can experience music by playing it and showing them that I also have a life outside of school naturally too.
How long have you been a teacher?
Well, this is my 5th year being a teacher, but I've been teaching trumpet privately for 14 years now.
So just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit of time on the trumpet. Just a little. I started teaching trumpet when I was in 8th grade, just for fun, and then I decided I want to be a band director, and it just kind of took off from there. So
Horn instruments to me seem like they are way more difficult to master than a stringed instrument.
the difficulty with playing a horned instrument is the way that the mouth has to be shaped and how much air you're putting into the instrument, where the hands are placed, because they're very specific, just as like the strings are as well, and just learning how to have that control so that you're creating a good sound, so that we're not just all over the place.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into making sure that the notes are smooth, transition with the transients.
Right.
With guitar, you can just if you flub, whatever, there's more strings to cover it up.
Yeah, no, and actually it's funny you say that, because sometimes I'll be playing my horn and I'll play a wrong note and I'm like, oop, I think I'm a half step away. Let me just play something and get closer to that note, and it usually helps me get to that next spot.
Yeah, it's like a fretless. If you were playing a fretless guitar or bass and without the dots or the frets, you're just a little bit of a hair off, and it could just ruin everything.
Okay, well, don't hand me a regular guitar, much less one without frets. No, thank you. Okay.
So, what are some of your favorite places to play?
One of my favorite places to play was up in Laurel, and it was the brewery up in Laurel. I just had it on my mind. Mandy, hang on one second. Slow Boat was one of my favorite places to play out of Laurel, but they're no longer open right now.
I was curious, like, what places are most receptive, like, because when you play, there's probably maybe a couple other horn players as well with you to make up the ensemble, and what places are really receptive when they have these, this bands come in that have a real big arrangement.
Well, we did play out of Gaga Gasolina in New Orleans, and in that area, if you come with a horn line, they throw down. They love the fact that horns show up, and actually I think more people are appreciative of a horn line than you would think, especially in large crowds. We went to Dan B's and I was playing just covers, no originals, just covers, and the whole bar was packed. It was like shoulder to shoulder packed. Not necessarily COVID regulations, but it was packed, and they loved it. And it's outside, and people could dance and have a good time. And I really think bringing back the oldies with a lot of those horn hits from, September, Let's Groove Tonight, Boogie Shoes, things like that, going back there and playing that kind of music really draws in a really good crowd and gets people involved.
Adrienne, how has COVID impacted the band as a band director, the school, and your teaching and the instruments? You were kind of saying it's the slow death of an art.
Yeah, it's slow because a lot of people are perceiving it to make an impact through performance in the instrument because of how the air travels through instruments, how it's aerosols. It's a little different if you're playing guitar or drums where you can wear a mask, and it's a little bit more controlled, of an environment for COVID. So we've had to change a lot of things, a lot of regulations, a lot of how we do things to make sure that kids are safe, teachers are safe, put bell covers on the instruments to keep aerosols from traveling everywhere, trying to find enough space to keep students separated. And also when COVID happened, I noticed gigging-wise, the gigs just kind of stopped. I mean, I wasn't gigging for 4, 5, 6 months after COVID. I was playing in like just a regular room and being like, okay, I played for myself, and that's about it. So it's been very eye-opening to realize how much a small change can really impact how we carry on with our day-to-day lives. So I think COVID has changed things, but it's also making us more aware of how adaptable we can be as teachers and musicians as well.
Right. With the I had one more question. The bands that you play with, that you have played with, are any of them like loud rock, punk, noise bands? Have you played with anybody like that before?
Actually, I have. I've played some of our originals that we played with Down and Good was very much loud and punk. There was some rock in there as well. They wrote out hornline parts to feature us. Talking about hornline, usually I play with people like Zach Langley. All these people are out of Laurel. I don't gig much on the coast. I'm hoping to change that a little bit because going back and forth to Laurel gets exhausting sometimes. But Zach Langley, Susan and James Mahalik, talking about my people back there. But we play loud, we play funky, and the bands I play with are like that too. Chad Knight was as well when we played the 4th of July. It was epic.
What's your policy on playing or gigging with non-professional musicians?
Actually, I just like to gig. And I think if...
So there's a chance that
Yes.
me and Scott could jam with
Yes, actually, I was going to say, in my opinion, if you're in the business of making music in general, it's not whether or not you're a professional or not. It's the excitement, the energy behind creating music, and the love for it, because
Right.
the love for it sometimes takes over any form of professional attribute that could go into it. And I know that there's some people that are like, what do you mean by professional musician or not? Just because I have a degree in music education and I play my instrument all the time, there are people sitting in orchestras that have much more experience playing, and I consider them professional musicians myself. I am a professional musician, but I say that because it's always been told to me that that's what I do, and that's just what I
Right.
am.
Yeah, I think it's professionals defined by how serious they take the music, and also a level of functionality too, because there's a lot of people that take playing music serious, but their ability to function within a group, it makes it more difficult to accomplish a gig.
Right. And actually, that's what I enjoy about gigging, because I feel like I can get out of my comfort zone. When you're playing in a concert ensemble setting, you're trying to blend and match with like the 3 people around you and trying to really make it sound
Right.
beautiful. But like when you get to hook up a mic and just let loose and just get to be a little not of your professional musician, classically trained self, oh my goodness, it's so much more fun. You can jump around and have a good time, all the above.
Well, maybe there's a chance that we can get in a room with you and you can tell me and Scott everything we're doing wrong.
No, because you don't want to see me behind a drum set either.
Adrienne, how do you make us more professional? Can you make us sound more professional?
You need to sound more professional by beats 1 and 3 being No, I'm just kidding. But it's all about, in my opinion, if you're gigging, it's all about the love for music. I mean, the reason why people join band, are in band, participate, pick up a guitar, pick up drumsticks, bang on pots and pans is because they heard someone else do
That's what
it.
I did. Adrienne, how can people get in touch with you if they're interested in private trumpet lessons?
All right, so you can get in touch with me through my Facebook page, Adrienne Cocco Trumpet, or my email, adriennecocotrumpet@gmail.com, or just phone number is 228-326-8607, and I teach a range of students anywhere between 5th grade all the way up to adult students, and I'd love to have them. Last year I had 18 students enrolled in my private studio, and I did a studio recital at the end of the year. So I'm hoping at the end of this year we're able to include y'all in that process as well.
So you had like trumpet and a trombone and a bassoon.
Yep,
and a
like
tuba?
there were all kinds of different things playing different
all at the same time.
all at the same
It sounded
time.
beautiful.
Some of it, yes. But yes, we'll have a recital at the end of the year, and all the kids get to play their own piece of music for all their families and friends. So it's a good way to end the year and give them an opportunity to show all the things they've been working on.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adrienne, for coming on Red Radio. Everybody check out Adrienne for trumpet and all horn necessary needs.